Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another game of the Rugby World Cup. Scotland taking on Romania. Now, for Scotland to have any chance of making their way through to the quarterfinals, they need to win this game, and they need to win it with a bonus point. Looking at the way that the table currently sits for the Scottish, as you can see, they are on 5 points. So a bonus point win here would take them up to 10, which means that their game up against the Irish next week would actually be a winner takes all. Whereas for South Africa, they have got their game up against Tonga just around the corner. That is going to be tomorrow morning. And if the South Africans win that, they will secure themselves a spot in the quarterfinals. Although there is also still that very, very fine chance that the South Africans can miss out. Ireland and Scotland could go through, but this group, I believe that game between Tonga and South Africa will tell us quite a bit of what we need to know. But looking through at the starting lineups for these two sides, Scotland going with quite a changed side from what they did have in their last matchup. It is going to be Jamie Bhatti at number 1, Ewan Ashman at 2, and Sebastian coming in as the number 3, Sam Skinner and Grant Gilchrist as the locking duo, Luke Crosby at 6, Hamish Watson, his first minutes of this Rugby World Cup in the starting lineup at number 7, and Matt Fagerson will be at number 8, Ali Price and Ben Healy, so no Finn Russell for this contest. Redpath at 12 rather than Tui Pelotu, and Chris Harris keeps his spot at number 13. Kyle Steyn out on the left wing, Darcy Graham out on the right. I haven't decided who is going to get the hat-trick out of those two, but I believe we're going to see at least one of those two men walking away with 3 tries or more, and then Ollie Smith at number 15 close out the Scottish side. In the front row for the Romanians, it will be Savin, Remescu at 2, and then Gajon as the number 3, Motic, I should say, at number 4, and Ian Chu at number 5, Rosu at 6, Sir, and then the captain Charika as the number 8, Ropano at number 9, but rather than Valvasa at 10, they have gone with Kanache, Tangimana in the midfield alongside Tamane, and then out on the wings it is Sikua, also Lama, and then Simeon Sku to close out that Romanian starting lineup. Looking in the chat, we have got there Hamish, another day's slogging at work. Thank goodness it's over. An emotional support alligator denied entry into baseball game. True story. Says cool story, bro. And also we have got there evening Hamish catching up with the Kiwi Lads. Says Roof and I all and Hamish. Try not to miss one of the Kiwi Lads live streams. Me drinking all the games. Good to get in my fix, says Rolled and Goes. Scotland, says Scrumless. That's the thing, Scotland, they need a big win, and I've seen that they've got quite a bit of support to be able to go on and get themselves a decent victory here. And up against the Romanians, it's very hard to predict what kind of scoreline we're going to see today for Scotland. I'd like to think with this makeshift side that they've gone with, it's not so much their starting lineup, but I would say that the majority of players in here are fighting for a spot for the bigger games. So the Scottish, including next week, up against the Irish. Guys at Hamish, says David, are doing very well. And also we've got their easy one to call Scotland by 35. Says George, so you're not saying any more than 35 or just 35 at least? In this game, I believe a lot of people will be saying more along the lines of Scotland to win this game by 60 or somewhere around that margin. They are firing from the get-go. Looking through at the benches for these two sides. For the Scottish, it is going to be Matthew Sutherland and WP Nell. It's the front row replacement, Cummings and Daj. The other two forward replacements, then George Horn, Blair Kinghorn, and Hugh Jones. They're at number 23 for the Romanians. The players to watch out for, Hatig at number 17. He has started a couple of the games for Romania so far throughout this Rugby World Cup. Also Anutu at number 23. Look for him to add some power later on in this game. But do let me know also, ladies and gentlemen, who you think will be the first try scorer in this matchup. I believe I mentioned about Darcy Graham. I mentioned about Kyle Steyn. One of those two men are getting a hat-trick in this game. It's just that question mark of which one will be able to get their tally started up the earliest. And Scotland to struggle or to strangle Romania for 30 minutes and rack up a big score, I think, not less than 35. Says George, and hit that like button, guys. Says Stull in there as well. But looking through at the previous fixtures for the Scottish, they have had a relatively tough start to Pool B, having that loss to South Africa in round number 1, 18 points to 3 going against them. Scotland versus Tonga, they had a better performance in that one, winning at 45 points to 17, but they need the big win here with the bonus point to then have a chance of knocking Ireland or South Africa out of this Rugby World Cup. And their final game, Scotland versus France, was a great series to watch in the Rugby World Cup warm-up games, having a game go both ways. And then their game up against Georgia, 33 points to 6, a comfortable win for Scotland. But they were down by those 6 points for a majority of the first half. So similar to what we saw between Georgia and Fiji, Georgia started well, just not quite able to close out the job for the Romanians. They did have a relatively close game with the USA, relatively close compared to the other games they've had recently. That is 31 points to 17. They were beaten by Georgia, 56 points to 6. 57-7 against the Italians. Then they were beaten in the first round of the Rugby World Cup by Ireland, 82 points to 8. And then South Africa, 76 points to 0, winning over the Romanians in their most recent game. And I should mention that that was actually 2 weeks ago, as Romania did have a bye for the last round in this Rugby World Cup. We have got their evening Hamish and all. This ought to be a great match. Been metal detecting all day now. I'm hanging now and starving too. Oven's on. A homemade Cornish pasty, smelling good. Says Kerno Wick, and Scotland should be taking this by 40 to 50 points. Says Akaris, and Hamish, good Scottish name that. Says David Dempster, and champion Scotland. Says Hey Scotland, best wishes for you tonight. Or best wishes for a win tonight. Says Shanna, who's this Hamish character? Says Eric J, we talking about me or we talking about Hamish Watson? Because this is his first start in the Rugby World Cup. A dangerous man in that loose forward trio, and I hope to see him heavily involved. There's a few of the other games we have seen him in more recently. Just haven't quite seen enough of him. Hey, Hamish, are we ever an altar boy? I was not, no. And got Scottish blood in me, always. I got their back, let's go, lads, says Sai. And just had breakfast. Been up for 24 hours, feeling the pinch. Says Ric Flair, and morning, brother Hamish. Says Flanders. And there, did Tuisova's card get yellow, or sorry, did his yellow card get upgraded? I don't believe so. From what I've seen, it is still a yellow in all the statistics and everything along those lines, so I would assume it is staying as a yellow card for Tuisova. But it's very hard to tell because the weird rule that you can have 8 minutes to make the decision even if the game's over at that stage, it's very confusing. And yeah, Johnny Matthews' debut says Scrumless, and going to go sleep. We'll watch you in the morning, says Stull. And I says Jody, and if Scorman scrums well, then Romania will struggle big time. I think I saw one earlier on. Whereabouts did it go? It was about the Scottish. In fact, I don't know where it went, but there was one earlier on that someone asked me about whether or not Scotland can run away with it. I think it was. But yes, I think they'll do all right. And sorry, mate, just got sound. Says Eric J. Oh, there it is from Stephen. Are you expecting a big Scotland win? I am. I think they're going to win this game by 60 points or somewhere around there. It's my prediction. And also 63 points to 6. Says Mornay as his prediction there. But do let me know who you guys think will be the first try scorer in this matchup. I'm predicting either Darcy Graham or Kyle Steyn, but I can't decide which one will get over the line first. It just depends on what wing they go to, really, doesn't it? But I should mention, ladies and gentlemen, as well, 28 days, 6 minutes till the Rugby World Cup final. 60, Says Peter Wild, yep, going Scotland by 60 points. I don't normally go with the big brave predictions, but I'm doing it here. Hopefully I get relatively close to the actual score. There are still 2 more games that are taking place for this round, though, ladies and gentlemen, of this Rugby World Cup. It will be Australia versus Portugal tomorrow, alongside the next game that has taken place, which is South Africa versus Tonga. Now, I should mention we will be covering both of those games on the channel, so if you are new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We have already covered the 6 games that have taken place so far, including this one between Scotland and Romania. We've had some close games, we've had some not so close games. I wouldn't mind seeing one more close one, though, throughout this round of the Rugby World Cup. Check, the Telegraph says Tuisova's yellow card was not upgraded to a red card in the bunker. Says Kurt, and Romania's kit might be too bright for Scotland. Says Eric J. and Naspota. Says Albin, and also showdown on the health, also showdown on the Heath, expected draw. Says Cool Story Bro, and Scotland by 30. Says Peter Weil, Romania win by 30, says Council 1 Music, and Kyle Steyn to score the first try. Says Mono Grange. Tell you what, you can have Kyle Steyn, I'll take Darcy Graham. We'll have both wings covered. In that regard, Kia ora from Germany. Welcome in, Ta. Hope you are doing very well. Both sides now making their way out onto the park. 13 changes in the Scotland team from the last game. Hope it gels. Come on, Scotland. We should really suit for this game, mate, says Vagabond. We haven't got the suit at this stage. Decided to wear the nice casual attire for today, seeing as we had a record low temperature where we were for this day. And where's Vlad? Says, it was there from Rick in stadium back to the rafters. Says Shanna, yeah, a lot of people wanting to see this game. Romania look like they're in decent support for this matchup, but Scotland, it's a big opportunity here for some of these players to step up. Amy, you're 23. Do you know who Nasbota was? Says Albert. I know he was an ex-South African player, but it's about as far as my knowledge goes. We have got there, Romania was physical against the Box. And Irish, that's only giving the Scots a 35-win point margin. We've got currently the Romanian national anthem playing. Amish is Scottish. Says Rufen, how's the weather there? H says Scythe for this game. It looks like it's relatively nice conditions. It will be the evening contest, so of course a little bit of slipperiness for the players. And for the Romanian, Simeon Skoo at number 15, definitely a handy player to have. Tamani and Tangi Mana is going to bring a lot of physicality in their midfield, and that distribution game of Rupanu going to be hugely important for how well this Romanian side go, because if they can get it out the back line, they got Lama waiting out on one wing, Sikua, I should say, out on the other wing. Could be very exciting for the Scottish. In this game, it is Jamie Butty, Ewan Ashman, and Sebastian as the front row. Skinner and Gilchrist, the locking duo. Crosby, Watson returns, and Fagerson at number 8. So Scotland taking a lot of risks here in that regard, but sometimes changing your side so much can actually be a huge benefit to these guys, because some of them won't be in the starting lineup for the game up against the Irish. Some of them may not even be off the bench, but there is a chance now to try and cement yourself as one of those men in the 23. Looking at the likes of Chris Harris at 13, I believe that he will be playing in that game up against the Irish, but they're giving him more time here alongside the youngster Redpath. See how that combo does go in the midfield. And the chat we have got there, Scotland 100, Romania 0. So if Scotland get this result and beat Ireland, that could KO South Africa. It certainly could, depending on what happens in terms of pretty much if Scotland finish number 1, they will be through, of course. And then alongside that, Ireland, if they are finishing in 2nd or 3rd, but they're on the same points as South Africa, they will go through because they beat South Africa in their head-to-head. And Scott's team too strong for Romania here. Boom, they'll win by 45 points, says Ruth. And comes down to the bonus point then, says Cool Story Bro. And don't think the Scots will have a problem taking the win here, says Aneki. And I remember Nasbota from the 1981 Springbok Tour in New Zealand. And if South Africa get bonus, win the result between Ireland and Scotland won't matter, although it will. That's the thing, it still can matter for the South Africans, because if we go here to the table, pretty much, let's say South Africa get themselves that bonus point win, they'll be on 15 points, right? If Scotland manage to score themselves 4 tries in this game, they will also be on 10 points at the end of this round. If they score 4 tries up against the Irish and beat the Irish, then if the Irish are within 7 and haven't received that bonus point, that is when the technicality of South Africa dropping to 3rd will come into play. So there is still a very, very small chance that South Africa, I just bit my tongue, you can probably tell by the way I said that word, but yeah, South Africa could still get knocked out, but I don't see it happening with the way it is sitting. But that is the way that the draw can happen. And also, we have got there Scotland by 58 points, says Stefan, or Stephen, I should say. And also, we have got there, hoping Russie's Disco Lights are going to be the form tomorrow night, staying alive against Tonga. Tonga are tough enough in predictions, says Michael. I've said the South Africans, or sorry, not the South Africans, the Scottish, by 60 is what I am saying. I think they're going to come out firing. Young men with a lot to prove up the wires, says Tapua there. Of course, the NRL final taking place a little bit later on tonight. If the Box win by 50, then the Box through without a doubt, says George. Although the Box don't have to win by a large margin. The only thing that they need to do is get that bonus point, because the points differential gets decided after the head-to-head. It's a bit weird, because every other competition around the world, they look at your points differential before your head-to-head result with certain teams, whereas this one, because if Ireland finish number 1, then Scotland will not be able to pass South Africa. But if Scotland finish as the number 1 side, then Ireland, on the technicality, if they receive that bonus point, will knock South Africa out. But, like I said, very unlikely to happen, but you never know. It's the world of rugby. Anything has got the possibility. You have Pollard back, or we have Pollard back. No chance of a loss, says Irvin. And also we have got there late, but any update on Tuisova's card was upgraded? I hear that it was not, which is good news for the Fijians. Although I am at this stage just taking a few people's word for it, so hopefully that is actually the information and he isn't upgraded that red card at some stage in the future. Which it shouldn't be. I think once it's called as a yellow, it should just be the yellow. Wayne Barnes going to be in charge of this one. Box better points difference, so still box through. Not in this competition. The next thing that goes through is actually your head-to-head result rather than the points differential. That is where there's been quite a bit of confusion throughout this Rugby World Cup. But yeah, it goes head-to-head result against certain sides, and then it goes to your points differential if you had a draw. So the only one that would be relevant in that scenario would be Portugal-Georgia, because they drew in their game in the pool stages. But now Scotland, they have received the kickoff from Romania and already looking to use this back line. Chris Harris passes it across. And the hands a red path. Might have been Ollie Smith in the first carry. Now Sebastian, his first start in a Scottish test match. To be honest with you, Pollard is going to carry us through. He's our saviour. Hard for me to put a score on this. But one thing's for sure, the Jockey's will be trying to accumulate as many points as possible. Hopefully they don't lose anyone to injury or reds. Head-to-head, South Africa beats Scotland. True, but like I was saying, if Scotland finish number one, then the head-to-head that they're looking at is Ireland versus South Africa, and Ireland won that. So if Scotland finish one, the head-to-head between South Africa and Ireland could come into things. If Scotland do not win, or they do win but not by the margin that they need, then the Scottish head-to-head with Ireland comes into play. Does that make sense? I assume that it should, but I don't know. Now nicely thrown in by Jamie Butty. In fact, it was Ewan Ashman. My apologies. Jamie Butty, of course, playing Lucy prop for this match. Nice driving run from red path, moving into the half of the Romanians now. Healy finds his offload away to Hamish Watson, trying to break through the tackle attempt of Enku. And can Scotland score 14 tries? 14 is quite a few, isn't it? But if they can start finding the momentum early, I think they've already got the penalty advantage here from Wayne Barnes. No advantage coming into play now. Ewan Ashman fires it off now to the left-hand side. I'm so used to seeing Dawn van der Merwe in that 11 jersey, but for this game it is Kyle Steyn. Healy, skip pass out to Hamish Watson, breaks through the tackle with the Romanian fly half. Now at to 30. Is this a Scottish game or a bloody South African discussion, lol? Says Paul. Well, it took a little bit longer to explain the fact that there is still the 3 chances in the group stage. But yeah, it's pretty much just because I mentioned about how there's still the chance of all 3 sides missing out that has caused the confusion. Now to the right-hand side here, Ali Price going across to Healy. And everyone Scotland by 70 here. There is a chance of Scotland and Ireland. Scotland 5-point win or 1 or 2 bonus points for Ireland. I could put the box up, as you've said, says Brian. See, that's the thing. Scotland or Ireland, could still be outside of the 7 points. But if they score 4 tries, that will be the bonus point that they require. Loose ball was there for Rimascu, but they will go back for the original penalty in favour of Scotland. And creates Women's Rugby, Scotland versus Spain, 36 points to 5. Says Penelope. I also know that the New Zealanders played the Australians in the women's side of things. Victor Matfield presented it in Supersport last weekend. Scott Berger is in France, methinks. And well done, says John MC. As well, thank you very much, mate. And also, hi, Brian, says Gurno X. So, Scotland have kicked that one for the corner here after winning the early penalty. So, it is for the deliberate knockdown from the Romanians. And fans from 3 countries will be on the edge of their seats next weekend, says Brian. And my prediction is South Africa 63-13 of the Tongan. But hey, we never know, says Erwin. The claw is cleaned up by Scotland, but it is pretty loose from there. Line out Darcy Graham now back on the halfway line. Charges his way through. Finds the pass on the outside to Sam Skinner, but wasn't able to hang on to it. And it will now be the scrum feed for the Romanians. Also, we have got this. South Africa is the only team in bricks, says Jacqueline. Although at this stage, the 2 teams confirmed for the quarterfinals of this Rugby World Cup, England and Wales. They are the only 2 sides that have got themselves cemented in those quarters. If Ireland, Scotland, South Africa all end on 15, the head-to-head falls away. Points difference matters, says Albert. Although if Scotland finishes number 1, We're talking they're on 15 points because, yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? But I believe that Scotland, if they're at number 1 and Ireland are at number 2 for the overall, then they look at those results as the way of doing it because it's a weird triangle that may end up happening for them. And now back across to the right-hand side, Rupanu. Now nicely passed out the back line here for Romania, getting the first real attack of the game for themselves. Amish, who's the top Scottish captain of all time, says Ruth. Tops. I mean, I know I'd say is one of the top Scottish players, but I'm not sure about captain. Well, then that's another knock-on. This time now for Romania. Good evening, all. Scotland must go big tonight, says Colin. I feel sorry for Uruguay if the ABs put 96 on Italy. And also, we could then know his chance Scotland can beat Ireland. Says Mornay, and we the Bok fans will always be there. And sorry, wife, nicked my phone, oh my god. Says Paul, and cheers for your commentary tonight, mate. Appreciate your work, says Si. And also, we have got there Scotland, says Marius. And Ireland will beat Scotland. Yeah, that's the thing. If Ireland beats Scotland, that solves all the trouble in that group. And up to Waz says up to Waz. 5.5 minutes in. Ali Price about to feed the ball in for Scotland. Put my left one on Fiji winning the cup, says the put. Did you see their recent performance up against Georgia? Out of curiosity. And if you put it on before that game, did it make you at all concerned from how it went? Now it's an advantage to Scotland at scrum time. They will get the penalty. A little bit too much movement there. Scrum time. Going straight sideways. The Wars lost. They did indeed. Although the final is today. I think a lot of Warrior supporters will be back in the Broncos so that they can say that they were beaten by the side that went on to win the World Cup. Or not the World Cup, the NRL. I lost all sensation down there, says Tapua. Georgia put up a good fight against Fiji. Missed it, unfortunately. I'm not sure Scotland are that good, says Fleshin. And up the Wars forever. And Gavin Hastings, great captain. That kick for the corner, risky. It's kept in the field of play by Romania. Early mistakes being made by the Scottish. Well, that was almost a late takeout, and I think he's almost taken out his teammate. Are we above the All Blacks? I know Ireland is number 1. Are we number 2? Says Irvin. I'm not actually too sure who's sitting number 2 in the world at the moment, because I know that there was quite a chunk from the Springboks taken by the Irish, about 1.8 points or something along those lines. So I'm not too sure who's actually sitting at 2 at the moment, whether or not France or New Zealand or whether it's still South Africa. We're still number 2, says George, in there as well. So Ireland must have created a bit of a gap now between them and 2nd, 3rd and 4th, I think. Wales to finish 3rd. And also, I grant you your wish, says Marius. And also, France, says David. And okay, thank you, George, says Irwin. Passed across, Scotland. Driven backwards in a good tackle made by Tangi Mana. Now Healy passes off to Watson. Scotland spending a lot of time losing metres. And the all to you, Kiwi lads, we meet again. 0-0, says Spider-Mick. And do you think Romania have a shot to cause an upset? I do not believe so, but I think they might end up playing a little bit better than some may have first anticipated. Although if Scotland start finding their rhythm, that's when it becomes dangerous for this Romanian side. France, number 2. Says Akatis, and France number 2 at the moment, says Johan. Now Redpath breaking through the line here, backing himself to go on the outside, finds the ball to Hamish Watson, who will score it in the corner. And Scotland get their first try in the 8th minute of the contest, his first chance in this Rugby World Cup in the starting XV, making the most of it here. And Box fan, I won the Kung Fu, the Irish didn't move the goalpost. Says Blues Nate. And Ireland, France, South Africa, New Zealand is the order, says yesterday. And okay, France, says George. A Redpath finding his offload away to Hamish Watson. And I think France will whip up a storm in the quarterfinals, says Paul Howard. And not just sure, but I think France has moved to 2nd place, South Africa 3rd. And lots of pressure on Ireland to win World Cup now, says Crown and Glory Tattoo. And that's the thing, they're currently on a 16-match winning streak. So theoretically, if they win that game next week up against Scotland, and if they win all the way in this World Cup, they would have the World Cup with a 20-match winning streak behind them. The only game Well, I was going to say the only game they can afford to really lose is that game up against Scotland, but that's not the case. If they lose that game, they will be going home, more than likely. And they may take my land, but they'll never take our rugby ball. Says Sai. Our World Cup is for any team for the taking. Nice kick from the touchline from Healy. It's gone over. Now making the score 7-0. A great try. Romania lasted 8 minutes. Is that the best so far for them? Says Brian. It's certainly better than they went in their game up against South Africa. So, when did the Irish score? I know that Romania scored first up against Ireland. But then I think Ireland fired straight back. So it would have been somewhere around that same mark. They got their try. And goes Scotland, says Ali. Also, Ireland will choke, don't worry, says the poor. Well, they haven't shown too many signs of it as of yet, but that doesn't mean it can't happen. At the end of the day, it's a very unpredictable competition. This Rugby World Cup, nice rolling maul starting up here for Scotland. Ball is in the hands of Luke Crosby at the back. The back, guys, says Master Mal. Says Master Koya. Anything can happen from here on, says Spider-Man. Have you got Scottish heritage, Hamish? I believe back in the day, there was some Scottish along the way. That looked like an illegal challenge from the Romanian player, but he's going to be all right. Going back now to Lama inside of his 22. Does kick it downfield, almost into touch. Nicely claimed by Ben Healy. Trying to find his next passing option. 40 metres out from the line. Ali Price saw that there was no room on the short side, and the ball was put down by the big man, Ewan Ashman. In fact, I think that time it was Jamie Butty. And Grant, what's up, says Ali, and also drink plenty of water. It's good for you, says Peter. A bit slow this game, Ireland versus South Africa. We're already 20 points in at this time of the year against Stefan. And can't wait for the Cricket World Cup, and Ireland was around 5.5 minutes, says Brian. And we have there what have Namibia and Ireland got in common. None of them have reached the semi-finals, says Bruce. Although Namibia also have a love of 16 match winnings. Imagine that, though. Imagine one of the sides, likes of Uruguay, likes of Portugal. Imagine by the time we get to that next World Cup, if they are right up there in the standings. Like, that would be quite cool to see the improvement being made. Come on, hit the like button, people. Please give that up this game. Says Ref, anyone who hasn't already, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. You have a Scottish tan, says Crown there. I seem to only be able to get tanned on my forearms. That's about it. Everything else is white ass. Now, being told to roll away there, Scotland, but Romania on attack once more. It's going to be a kicking attempt there from Florian Russo. I guess Scotland wouldn't have been expecting it, but doesn't work out for them this time. And now Scotland with a counter-attack. Sebastian, nice running. He keeps running. He didn't pass the ball. He should have, because they did have the men on the outside there for Scotland. Now Fagerson. In fact, it's Crosby. A bit of a counter-ruck there from the Romanians. They don't get the turnover, though. Ali Price back now to Healy. More to Chris Harris. Skip pass. Goes out to Ollie Smith. Finds the pop on the inside. Now 20 metres from the line. That should be a Romanian penalty, and it certainly is. Have you ever been disappointed in a team? Says Irwin. I'd say so. We've seen some pretty poor performances. Some stage the longest winning streak is 17 games by both New Zealand and England. So Ireland will have to break that record to take the cup. So yeah, could be history in the making for the Irish. Namibia beat Ireland once, says David Dempster, and I wouldn't be too excited about Scotland's chances though. It'll be Ireland in the box going through, says Brian there. One moment. This chat's going quite quick for this match. Chicks dig tanned forearms, says Crown. Although I should mention it's only on one side of the forearm. Like the underside's still as white as the rest of me. I don't recognise the Scotland team, says Jody. There are quite a few new names being thrown in there. This is more of a experimental lineup. They're just showing Sebastian there having the run by himself. He should have passed in that case, but it's very hard to tell a prop to pass the ball when they've broken through a tackle. They think they'll go all the way to the try line. Now Romania, Rapanu manages to get it back across to Kanache. Oh, well stripped by Chris Harris, but it is going to be play on now. Kick downfield by Romania. Taken at the back by Ollie Smith. Cross to Darcy Graham with a great run up the middle. Tries to find the flick pass on the halfway line. Ali Price. Back to Jamie. No, back to Ewan Ashman. Keep confusing those two. Scotland are not good today, don't know why. Says Jody. Romania has a history of getting zeros. Says Erwin. Oh, they will still be remembered, of course, for their first try up against the Irish. I got red when I get a tan. I go red when I get a tan, and then I go brown. Says Casey, and has the number of yellow and red cards slowed down, or is it just my opinion? Says Rude. No, I think we've had less yellow and red cards in this round of the Rugby World Cup, and I think that is down to the fact that the players are slowly getting accustomed to the rules and how the referees are going to be policing it. They want to make sure that they're leaving very little margin for error. Although saying that, we still saw the Fijians get 2 yellow cards in their most recent performance. Chris Harris making the tackle there on Tangimana, now close to the touchline, just going into touch for Florian Russo. And Ireland have to beat the All Blacks to get the record, says Monet Lagrange. And Romania, oh no, I read that one. Also, the fastest South African player was Brian Habana, says Spider Mick. So how quick was he compared to Sanatla? Do you know any stats in terms of the quickness between those two? Because I know that Sanatla for a while was considered the quickest South African player, but then that was more of the modern era rather than the previous, wasn't it? G'day from Tokyo, says DJ. Welcome in. Matt Fagerson taking that one nicely for Scotland. They now look to get this rolling maul started. Romania looking like they're going slightly backwards. So they have been told to use it once. Cyprus actually hold the unbeaten record 24, says Ric Flair. Interesting. Nice backline movement. Darcy Graham now charging. That was close to 4 to Ali Price, but I believe it should be good. And Ali Price will score their second try of the match now for Scotland. Darcy Graham, he saw the gap up the middle. Brian outran a cheetah and a Boeing. Says Jaden and teams need to get actors and stuntmen in, like how you have wrestling coaches in to help them milk penalties and cards, says Mus. I actually thought Spider until when you pulled up on him, says Blues Nate. And it was a nice one, Scots, says Shana. But it was a nice pass from Redpath. Healy saw that opportunity. Graham pinned the ears back. It's a good pass. Ali Price, and Rugby World Cup should be a 12-team tournament. Says, was there from, where was that? Master Okoya. I think that's just because you like the Cricket World Cup, the fact that they've gone down in numbers. So you want rugby to follow suit. But the problem is, if you've only got 12 teams, when you look through at the groups, for instance, one moment, we'll go like this, we'll go like this. So if you're saying 12 teams, you'd lose Uruguay and Namibia from that group. You'd lose Tonga. You'd lose Romania. Looking at these other groups, you'd lose Georgia, who almost pulled off that victory up against the Fijians, who are currently sitting in second place in that grouping. You'd lose Portugal, who are an up-and-coming nation. They want to try and keep on improving. You'd lose Argentina, in this case, with the way that the rankings are. And you'd also lose Chile. But now, of course, Argentina, they've boosted up, so you ditch 2 Pacific Island teams if you were to get rid of the 2 sides at the bottom of each of the pools. So I don't think they would. World Rugby surely won't be that dumb. But then saying that, it's World Rugby, so who knows? Because you pretty much, if you get rid of those 12 teams, that's 12 markets that you've shut out. 12 countries that aren't going to watch the World Cup because their side's not in it, so they won't care. And then you lose that much revenue, and you just, you don't want to lose that revenue. Definitely not when rugby at times is struggling. Argentina's weak at this moment. Says Ali, although they are sitting in second on that table, they have got a chance of making it through to the quarterfinals. AFL Grand Finals yesterday and NRL Finals today. And Sanatla was quicker than Habana, 10-6 for Habana and 10-4 for Sanatla, says Mornay. And up to Black Cat, says David. The Munster men beat the Barbarians 47 points to 35. Geez, high scoring one between those two sides. It's a shame that that game was taking place at the same time as that last contest. I just showing the 30th test appearance for Adrian Mutik. Playing at number 19. You've just got the drinks break taking place currently. And Ric Flair, if you wish to think that Cyprus hold that record, you carry on. Zakaris. Now Healy. Ready to kick this one for the touchline. They can never be, or that can never be. We need them as such as they need us, or as much as they need us. More people should be exposed to the game, says Jacqueline. I should mention that kick once again has missed touch from the Scottish. So not ideal for them. That is about the second or third time that they haven't been able to get the ball over the touchline when they've had a penalty. Sebastian looks for the pass, doesn't quite find the hands, but gets it to Fagerson in the end. A red path back into the pocket. This time Healy puts it high. Mike has been a standout, says Tapua. I might have been awake for like 48 out of the last 53 hours, but I'm still not falling for that one. There should be 2 World Cups, one for the minnows and one for the bigger teams. Says use all. Any chance the Kiwi lads doing it NRL finals tomorrow night, says Blues Nate. Is it tonight or tomorrow night that it's taking place, Nate? Is it Sunday? Wait. Yeah, is it Monday night or Sunday night? I think it's Sunday, isn't it? So today. It's a way to join the next World Cup, says Ali. Now, driving through Darcy Graham, putting on the afterburner, steps through, scores the try. And that is now 1 away from the bonus point for Scotland here. Good wishes for Netherlands cricket team. World Rugby could cut it to 16, but what needs to be done is to invest in the Tier 2 teams, help more or play more games against better opposition, says Peter Mason. Because that's the thing, some of these sides, this is the only time they get to play Tier 1 and Tier 2 teams, or of around that same level as themselves. Like, looking at someone like Namibia, for instance, they play Chile, they play Uruguay in the warm-up games of the Rugby World Cup. If they weren't in the World Cup, they wouldn't be playing pretty much anyone, unfortunately. And in this World Cup, they've got to play Italy, they've got to play Uruguay again, they got to play New Zealand. So those are games that otherwise they wouldn't have got the chance to play. And even though they're very one-sided affairs at times, I said it on one of those other streams, if you ask one of the players in the side, like, oh, you lost against such and such by 90 points, are you sad about it? They'll be like, well, it wasn't the result we wanted, but to be able to play in a World Cup is something that we're going to remember for a very long time. And that's what it's kind of about for those smaller teams. Not so much about winning a World Cup, but just being able to take part in the competition. A 12-team World Cup will cut the number of games down to 14 games in total, not much of a tournament, says Akaris. And also good wishes for Netherlands cricket, says Master in there as well. And also Brian Abana, 100 metres, 10.4 seconds, seems slower as time went on, says Bruce. It'll be taken nicely by Scotland. I should mention that kick has gone over as well. So 21 points to nil at the moment after 22 minutes in this game. Currently scoring at about a point a minute, just going through their back line with Chris Harris, cut out pass to Darcy Graham. I predicted either him or Kyle Stain to get themselves a hat trick in this one. He has already got his first. I didn't hear what your mum and dad predicted for this match, says Craig. That is because I do not actually know what they predicted for this game. They only really did the prediction for the ABs contest. I'd assume they both, actually, from what I can remember, I think they both said Scotland win easy. But I don't have like an exact score line for them. And Argentina weren't such a good rugby team before they joined the Rugby Championship, says Rishan. So yeah, you look at that as a perfect opportunity, or a perfect example. They got given that opportunity and they have been able to improve since. I can't wait for tomorrow. I think you feel the same, says Irvin. And also we have got the all respects to Romania to represent their country, says Blues Nate. And Fiji won and Fiji win next game is Aussie safe, Irish, says Kevin. So if Fiji get a losing bonus point minimum from their next game, it is going to be a Fiji and Wales quarterfinal making their way through. Not playing each other, of course. That's a knock-on at the back from Ben Healy. Now another Romanian scrum feed. ICC Cricket World Cup starts on the 5th. Going to be fun, says Albert. I mean, 35 points the first half, says George. You sure? You want to go with the higher one, George, or do you think Scotland will slow down? That's what we'll be relying on with that 35 score. Is Tonga good? Are they like Scotland and Romania, says Ewan? I wouldn't say that both of those sides fall into the same category. Scotland were able to get the win over Tonga by about that 30 or so point margin. But yeah, they have been struggling a bit with discipline, Tonga, throughout this Rugby World Cup. And can't see the Scottish team beating a proper team, says Fleshin. The second tier teams should play this with 17 players, says Michael. And 100 metres in 2 minutes, Says Brian, that sounds like my 100-metre time. Now at the back, Hawawi Chirisu, or Chirika, I should say. Grab forward from Rupani. Almost stolen by Scotland's number 10, Ben Healy. Big run forward from Lamani. Moves only 10 metres out from the try line, but Scotland are over the ball and they will get themselves another penalty. Are you going to broadcast in the Cricket World Cup, says Casey? I think if we do end up covering any of that Cricket World Cup, it will be after the Rugby World Cup competition has come to a close, mainly because anytime we've tried to do a Cricket World Cup, we've been copyright struck on the channel, and then it takes 2 weeks to get that removed, which then would mean that we've missed a lot of games in the Rugby World Cup. So yeah, after the Rugby World Cup, we are more likely to try a little bit of cricket. All Whites are a minnow team, but I loved following them. They made the FIFA World Cup. You got to keep the minnows, says Sai. And yeah, without the real underdogs, you don't get that massive underdog win. Like we've seen, Japan have been able to do it in the past. Uruguay, when they beat Fiji in 2019, that was a massive upset. I see taken by Scotland again. Ali Price slings it across. Now to Redpath. Tackled by Irimiscu. Ben Healy, good lined up shot on him. Now Harris passes on the outside to Watson. Quick hands from Smith. Darcy Graham with the chip and chase. Just doesn't quite get the bounce of the ball that he was after, and it's cleaned up by Rapanu. When you start cricket training, Amish says Blues Nate. We did start last week, but unfortunately we had rain on Thursday this week, so we didn't get to train. Spain would have been through and not Romania, but they made some mistake, forgot who it was. Or what it was, says Rick. So it was playing a player who had gone to South Africa for a bit of time to play rugby due to, I think it was, or he hadn't been in Spain for long enough or something along those lines. I know he got stuck due to COVID, and then that kind of caused the problem for them. Quiz question, which country have won the Rugby and Cricket World Cup in the same year? Is it Australia? Maybe. And Ben Johnson the fastest until he's stripped for being too fast, says Spider Mick. Another rolling ball for Scotland, 25 metres out from the Romanian try line. This one is marching forward at a hectic pace, but it's slowed down now. Ewan Ashman hanging on to this one at the back, rolling around the side. Now gets broken off all by himself, tackled by Sear. Matt Fagerson plays halfback, goes to Watson. Good shot coming in on him, 5 metres from the line now. Price back across now to Grant Gilchrist. Knees chopped out from underneath him by Sir once more. Smith has dropped that ball as he was running through the gap. And now counter-attacking opportunity here for Romania. Looks like he's going to back his pace. Goes on the outside to the captain, Chirika. Could have easily just taken the scrum 5 metres out from their own line here, Romania, but they decided they wanted to fight, get those few extra metres made. Offloads the ball to Ragos Sia. She is, says Penny Lane. And also she seems Irish and magical. And also a country won the Cricket, Rugby and Soccer World Cups, says Albert. That'd be England, wouldn't it? I'd assume. And also I think the League World Cup is a waste of time though, says Rick Flair. Well, they're in a tricky position for the League World Cup. And I feel like Rugby Union needs to look at that and go, that's what we don't want to happen, because the Rugby League World Cup, they had a lot of games throughout the group stages that were just technicalities, and I feel like some people would argue that in the Rugby Union World Cup, we've had a few of those ones as well, but they need to make sure that they are still keeping Rugby League alive for the sides outside of about that top 4 or 5, because you know Australia are going to be strong, New Zealand relatively strong, England, because they play on a regular basis in their Super League. You've got the Pacific Islands are always going to go out there and put in a good show because they've got the players who are playing in the NRL. But outside of that, there aren't many sides that are really competitive in the Rugby League circuit. Now Chris Harris gets the offload away to Hamish Watson. Goes Scotland, says Team Doggy. I'll stain. You know what? Romania's tackle stats are going to be through the roof throughout this first half. If you do the Cricket World Cup, would you commentate for 7 hours straight? Probably. Or we'd end up doing it maybe as, like, we'd have a little break in between the two innings. What's another good low tackle made on him. Now back to the left-hand side. Sebastian. Taken down low. Ali Price once more. Knock on this time. It's Jamie Butty again who has the handling here. I'm from Ireland and proud rugby fan. Yes, Ireland. England are the only country to get into those three sports. Says Ric Flair. And also Scottish look athletics now. They are running and dancing. Says Jody. Of course, their game next week up against the Irish. Should be a heavily contested one. Although it will be very intriguing to see what side both teams put out. Whether Irish go with a few changes just for the sake of trying to rest some players before the quarterfinals, or whether they just go consistently, keep that momentum flowing and try and get those same players staying in form. Because they actually have been very lucky in terms of the amount of injuries that they've had. They've had hardly any throughout this World Cup competition. Hello, does someone know where I can see the Scotland versus Romania Live? Says hi. So if you go on the Rugby World Cup website, there will be a tab that says where to watch. And then if you click on there, you'll be able to see what options you have depending on whereabouts you are in the world. Ireland won't change a thing. Andy isn't looking past Scotland, says Geza. There are no medal sprigs in Romania. Rob them all, says Kerno Wick. And England won the golf and the tennis World Cup. Says cool story, bro. Do they have a golf World Cup? I guess it's just like the big competitions, isn't it? But oh, they're checking this one for the TMO here from the high shot. We did see earlier on. Gold 2. I think this is going to be a yellow card. The Rugby League World Cup was a joke up here. The Wheelchair World Cup got better views than the League one did. Says Fleshin. Yeah, that is on the chin. Shot to the head. It's going to be a yellow card. The winner of France vs South Africa quarterfinal will go on and win the World Cup. Kiwi lads, please broadcast Cricket World Cup also on YouTube. I'm sure your viewers increased 5 times bigger. Says Master. The last time we did a cricket stream on the channel, we had 27 people as our peak of watching. So I don't know whether I agree with you there, Master. We have got a heavy rugby audience on this channel, of course. Robert, Iramiscoon, now they will have to make that decision of whether or not his card is upgraded. And the Ryder Cup. GB versus USA says yesterday. I guess any time that multiple countries do take part, like you kind of get that slightly World Cup feel. I used to have a golf tournament. I do not think it exists anymore, says Akaris. And GB versus USA and Scotland looking good to qualify, says Malcolm. Because I guess that's the thing. Once they get one more try in this game, it's almost, I guess we're at a technicality of they can't really do much more than that other than their points differential trying to increase it, which currently, we'll go like this. What is it sitting on at this very point in time? We'll go like that. Scotland's points differential is plus 13. So if Scotland win this game, well, that's the thing. They'll have to win it by a large margin because South Africa still have their game against Tonga just around the corner. Rolling maul there for the Scottish. It was about to be a penalty advantage and going straight through. Offloaded up to Darcy Graham just short of the try line. Good strength being shown by the outside centre. Skinner. 2 metres out. I don't know. We'll remove that. I was trying to find the button, but I was also trying to watch the game because they are very close to getting over the line. In fact, they are now over. They have to make the decision of whether it's a try. Will you sing the national anthem of South Africa for us tomorrow? I will not know. No. I feel like that would make everyone leave. So I do not have a singing voice on me. 27. Yes, rugby is more popular, says Jacqueline. I think Ireland will go full out, Hamish. They will speak Scotland too much. And also cricket takes too long. I enjoy the T20, says George. And that's the thing. In that game up against the Scottish, if Scotland do win on the head-to-head technicality, depending on how close the game is, it could actually mean that Scotland make it ahead of the Irish. Also, when do you sleep, bro, commentating on all these games, says Sino? I will be sleeping this afternoon, which will be ideal. But we haven't had a huge amount of sleep over the last 3 nights. It takes too long. I enjoy the T20s, says George. Where were the Boks at this point? Up against the Romanians. I believe they were they 30? were they 33? They had either scored 4 or 5 tries at this stage. And then they had that real quiet patch where they couldn't score anything. Because they went all out. I think Kobus Reinach got the 4th or the 5th try in about the 24th minute or something like that. It is going to be short and held up. So they will go back for the original penalty in favour of Scotland. We have good there. I have faith in you, to be honest. I sound way worse. But I have to sing for my country, says Irvin. Oh, 6 is going to go to the bin for the Romanians. The Kiwi Lads Please broadcast Rugby World Cup match is also on YouTube. You get 5 times larger viewers, definitely, says Master. Like I said before, we had 20 people watching the last time we did cricket, which is not many compared to the rugby that we do. You have to be a die-hard cricket fan to watch Test cricket for 5 days, says Rick Flair. I want to see the actual match. Not only the comment, can someone help, says Mihai. So your best bet, like I said, Rugby World Cup website. They've got a tab called Where to Watch, and then depending on whereabouts you are in the world, depends on what option you have got to be able to watch the game. But that is going to be now Florian Rousseau going off the field for 10 minutes. And geez, 5 days. Yeah, good old test match cricket. And then the Ashes, that's 5 test matches, 5 days after 5 days after 5 days with a couple days in between. We covered a majority of that series on the channel. TMO should only focus on the try line, everything else I'll leave it to the person on the field, ref. Says Spider. What were the yellow cards for? So that one was for, I believe, offside. And then the other one was for a high shot, which could get upgraded to a red card as we get closer to that 8 minutes. They've got to decide now. Rolling maul for Scotland. Hanging on to this one at the back. It is Ewan Ashman. Breaking off the back. Oh, he's knocked the ball on, though. You can see how desperate he is to try and score that try. And every time it goes to that rolling maul, he's been close, but just not quite able to get there. Ali Price is laughing at him, which I'm sure won't make him feel much better. This game has been more interesting as the Scottish players wore kilts, says Rishton. And also, guys, Islanders South Africa will end first. And second, there's no rabbit out of the hat, says George. Are we looking at the situation where the Pacific boys go full league? Are we in the North and the South Africans go full union? I don't think so. I think that Tonga, their rugby league is a lot better than their union, which sounds harsh to say, but it is true. Samoa, you'd probably argue that their league is a lot better than their union as well. So those are 2 sides that might fall into that league part. But like New Zealand, I don't see going down a league route. I'd say that they'll stick to union. That's a knock on from Ewan Ashman. And someone please go smash Barnes in the face, says Democracy. And Hamish, where'd that go? Hamish rocks this commentary big time. He also plays Bon Jovi at halftime, says Roof. And don't think there'll be as many cards as there was in the Spurs versus Liverpool match. Romania did the same to us. They're actually not too bad at holding the ball up and stopping tries being scored, says Eldon. You can't have any pudding if you don't eat your meat, says Eric. It's going to be now Scotland. Oh, what happened there? They got themselves the free kick, I believe, here, Romania. Scotland taking too long. Are you doing Ireland versus Scotland next week? We certainly are. We are covering every single game of this Rugby World Cup on the channel. So anyone who is new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Leave them kids alone, says Peter. Who's the band that sung that? Pink Floyd, isn't it? We had to draw a brick wall at school because that was for that song. Man City lost that. That made my day. Says George, this referee talk a lot. Says Jody. And Blue, settle down, buddy. Most South Africans are cheering the ABs on this World Cup, says Mitch. Plus so many yellow cards as well. Not even the coaches escaped, says Geza. Now Romania, line out throw. Score currently still sits at 21-0. Ewan Ashman cleans that one up at the back of the line out. Now the back line's starting to move here. Kyle Stain, in fact it's Chris Harris, goes off to Ollie Smith. Stain was waiting for it on this near side, doesn't get the ball on this occasion. Crosby pops the ball up. Price, cross to Healy. Kyle Stain off his wing, does decide to look for a bit of work. And that's the thing, he does also play in the centres. We don't need no education, says Spider Meek. And most South Africans are certainly not Mitch. Who you support, George? Says Penny Lane. And I agree, leave them kids alone, says Tapua. And Blue say those comments for if we face one another, says Mitch. Now, Watson, open space for him. Inside ball to Stain. Nice bit of work from Alexandru Saven. At number 1 now, Chris Harris goes to Darcy Graham. He scores his second. My prediction of him getting a hat-trick is getting just that little bit closer now. How many minutes remaining in the first half? Clock seems to be stuck, so it is currently 33 minutes down. So we've got, it's almost 34. By the time this kick goes over, there'll be 6 minutes remaining in this contest. And Try Scotland says Shanna, and also bonus point bravo, says Joe D. And also I certainly will not, sir away with that blast to me. And also there is no Northern League at all. No one gives a ball for it up here, says Fleshin. See, that's the thing. I feel like England are the only real side. Lebanon. Where's Lebanon? Lebanon's a little bit out to the side, isn't it? That's actually more. Where's Lebanon? Is Lebanon Asia? Or is that counted as Europe? I think it's Asia, though, isn't it? In terms of continent. When does Aaron Smith leave the All Blacks? Says Ollie is the best after this World Cup. Don't underestimate the Tongans. They're pretty damn wild and wonderful. Says Ruth, and win or lose, I'll always back my team. Says George. 35 minutes through. Lining up this kick. Middle East. Says Peter Walden, no Europe. Lebanon is in Asia, Middle East. Says Geza, and do you think World Rugby should improve refereeing or not? Kiwi there? Well, there's got to be consistency, which we haven't seen. Lebanon is in Africa. Says Ali, right. So we've got Middle East, we've got Asia, and now we've got in Africa as well. Oh, we've got another stoppage. This will be to determine whether or not the yellow card has been upgraded. It remains as a yellow card. Okay, so the yellow card is going to remain as a yellow. And pretty much Chirika, the captain of the Romanians, when Wayne Barnes said about the fact it was staying as a yellow, he said, thank you, I'm sorry. And then Wayne Barnes pretty much said, it's not your fault, is it? It's pretty much will shock you, says Fortune. I'm going to go. I'll see you tomorrow for our game, and people remember rugby always wins. Says Irvin. Lebanon is in the Middle East, y'all. Says Sino. And also we have, do you mean Central Asia? Says Peter Wild. And Lebanon is Middle East, next to Syria and Israel. Says Geza. So continent-wise, though, is that Asia? How many continents are there? This is going to sound like a dumb question. It is currently, I've done an all-nighter, so I feel like I can ask it. Another penalty going the way of, I think it was the Scottish, yes it is. So that Africa, Asia, Oceania, although people call Australia a continent, don't they? So it depends on who you're talking to. I'm going Oceania, though. What else we got? Africa, Europe, North America, South America. And then some people call Antarctica one too, don't they? So about seven or eight. That'll do. I've been to 134 countries. Pretty sure Lebanon hasn't moved. Says Peter Wild. Are you thinking of Libya, which is in Africa, says Stefan. And how's it going, says Julian. Doing very well, thank you. Another advantage going the way of Scotland, who are looking to get their 5th try in this half. Darcy Graham runs out of space, but still manages to find the pass on the inside to Ashman. Keeps it alive. Price swats it out the back. Now Jamie Butty trying to spin out of the challenge. He was hit hard by Chirika, who has now got some sort of facial injury. Does not look too flash for him. Ruth and Wine. And also that's correct damage, says Jaden. And America, Asia, Africa, Europe, Oceania, and Antarctica, says Mikhail. Technically, Australia is a continent. Yeah, it's a bit weird, isn't it? That's another try. Matt Fagerson, he's not from Australia. If it was Jack Dempsey, we could have said something, but it's going to be Matt Fagerson instead. Does cross the try line for the Scottish. It'll be there. Hang on, the scoreboard's gone to sleep, isn't it? There we go. That's a bit better. His team's nothing but sparring partners. Shame, says Robin Wood, and some people call New Zealand European. Says Ollie, I know that on like our school exams, you had to fill out your, what was it? Not your race, but your background or whatever it was, and it was always New Zealand European. So what you'd select, clock and sleep mode. Says Joe and Hamish, my descendant, wrote the national anthem for New Zealand. Says Penny Lane. Nice. And shoulder to the face, that could be a red, says Geza. And Livia's always on my mind. Says Eric J. Yeah, we are going upstairs once more here. This is going to hurt Romania if they keep on ending up with cards. And each stream has a different flavour: snakes, food, geography, holiday destinations. Says Albert. Ethnicity, that's the one. Right, the try is good. Okay, the chicken. Oh, this might be where Tarika got injured. But they want to check for foul play. There are 6 continents, says Casey. Okay, so which 6 would you say, Casey, in that case? Might be Simeon Skoo. He might be in trouble. He's looking confused. Where does he tackle the bloke, though? It's not much in that. Oh, there's a shoulder to the chin, though, isn't there? There is foul play. Head contact. Oh, it's going to be another yellow card. And there are 7 continents, says Sino. And also absolutely ridiculous, says Democracy. Most survive in Zealandia is the 7th most recently discovered. And also carbon dating, says Eric. And also Springboks will surprise you, says Wusamusi. I think the only way they'd surprise me at this stage is if they lost the World Cup. So is that what you're meaning? Because like I've said, they were like my team to win the World Cup. So I guess if they're going to surprise me, that would mean that they lose. Hopefully not, though. What country is golf number 1? Says cool story, bro. They've got the Ryder's Cup at the moment. There's been some good golfers out of Ireland. There's some good golfers out of the US, of course. Probably US, you'd say, is number 1 in terms of golf overall for, like, I guess the amount who play it and compete. They're a place dedicated to them, says Penny Lane. So, yeah, another yellow card for Simeon Skoo. The Romanians now playing with 13 men on the field. In fact, they're down to 12 until this next man makes his way out there. Oh, yeah, he took the head knock from his teammate. By most standards, there are a maximum of 7 continents: Africa, Antarctica, Asia, Australia/Oceania, Europe, North America, and South America. Says Neil. And how many GF of Tiger Woods, says Master? I'm not sure how many he's got at the moment. I know back in his day he used to go through them a fair bit. And 8th continent, Doggerland. And 3 yellow cards for Romania. Should just walk off now. This isn't rugby, says Democracy. Yeah, they're just tackling too high. And all of the challenges, like, they aren't getting away with anything for one. So it's not really benefiting them by tackling in this way. Now Scotland again, looking to use their back line. Going across the left-hand side, breaking through. Here comes Chris Harris. Looks for the pass, does decide to back his own pace. Ali Price goes off to Darcy Graham. He'll get the hat trick. And that is all within the first half as well. North and South are subcontinents, says Mikhail. And also that Scott ran into the Romanian player's shoulder. These rules are stupid, says Mark. To be there are only 7 continents. And also, they might take this World Cup again, the Springboks, says Vusumuzi. And I see Penny Lane. That kick has gone over from Scotland. They rushed the conversion so that they can have one last crack before the end of the first half. And they now sit on 42 points. Capital of Luxembourg is Luxembourg, says George. And Ireland are not the best team at playing rugby. They are just the best team at milking penalties. The world rankings reflect which team has been awarded the most penalties, says Willow Fly. I don't know about that. Ireland, in terms of, the ruck speed and everything along those lines, they've got the quickest ruck speed out of any side in world rugby, statistically. So they are able to get that ball out at extreme speeds. That ball's gone into touch, and it is going to now be halftime, ladies and gentlemen. 42 points to 0 in favour of the Scottish. Definitely not the way that they wanted to start in this contest for the Romanians. Not only got the rugby, but learning about our world. Brilliant, Says, sorry, one moment, I'm about to sneeze. We are good. Speaking of golf, Tiger Woods' old caddy. I was New Zealand's highest paid sportsman at one point. A fun but useless fact. Says, Geza and Darcy Boy is lit. I love my geography. Says George, and also North plus South America equals separate continents. Central America is geographically lumped into North America on maps. And these points are valuable for the Scots. Says George, they are writing all the continents is too much work. Says Casey. And I cannot wait for the Springbok Tonga game. This will be the decider for the person second place is in Pool B. My support will be for the Springboks to win that game tomorrow night. Says Desmond. And also, where the world says we're going this way, they say nah. We do our own things, says Stefan. And oddly enough, I have a home in Europe that is older than Rangitoto is in New Zealand, says Peter Wild. But yeah, a bit more of a one-sided first half than some would have liked. But we have to ask the question now, ladies and gentlemen. With Romania playing with 13 men at the start of the second half, question is, we want yes or no in the chat. Will Scotland get 100 points in this game? Will they be the first team to do so in this World Cup? Do let me know. Last time I was here, I learned about Perky Nanas. Now I'm learning geography. Says Seno and productivity at the workplace will be at the low time or all-time low on Tuesday. Says Gary, and Scotland probably need a greater defensive challenge. This does keep them fresh. No, says No, says Jacqueline. No, says Sino. Will Scotland get to the 100, says Brian. Brian's asked the same question there. What is the worst religion in the world? I feel like you're trying to get us cancelled, Master. Okay, it was better when you were just saying how much you love cricket. Oh, it's the smallest country in the world, says George. How big's Vatican City? They ain't very big, are they? And no, says Dan. No, says Chris. Not quite. We always fall short in everything we do. Jeez, that sounds deep, doesn't it? Identify as a Springbok, says Ali, and thank you, Igor. I like all those these lost people, says Eric. And also, yesterday New Zealand had fun on the carousel. Today Argentina also had fun on the carousel. And now Scotland does not want to be less than the two of them. 13 minutes possible, says Devil in Scotland. Yes, the Vatican, correct, Hamish. Whoa, I'm like a brainy boy, eh? Look at that. I'll take it. Didn't even have to Google it either. Trick question, but it's Vatican City, says Peter Wild, and Scotland is in the 80s, says Kevin there. So I haven't seen one person say yes yet for Scotland getting that 100. I've seen people saying they'll be close. So I'm going to make the bold prediction now. Second half, we will see the Scottish get to the 100 points, the triple figures in this game. Are these funny people from the smallest country in the world, says Jacqueline. And 90 points to 7. And also, we have good there. Hamish was correct. Scotland are pretty ruthless. And I totally agree, says Cool Story Bro. And correct, Peter. Says George, we're looking through at some of the stats for this game so far. It is Alexandro Savin who has made the most tackles with 13. Darcy Graham having the most running meters with 155. 4 offloads for Chris Harris. 9 gain line carries for Hamish Watson. Here's a bit of a fun fact. Darcy Graham has run more meters than the whole of the Romanian team throughout that first half. Cheers, mate. Gubbed for live feed in France. There's no TV, only decent live commentary, says John Kerr. Thank you very much, mate. Usually appreciating you being here. We will be here for every single game of the Rugby World Cup, so if there's ever a time that the games aren't shown for you, sure to come on over and we will have chat all about the game. Largest city? Oh, no. No, I'm gonna cash out with my Vatican City answer. So I feel like now I seem like I might be kind of smart. So we stop there before I make a fool of myself. Scotland will be 83-5, 14-0. When it looks, says Mr. Lerm. Cat amongst the pigeons. If Scotland get to the 100, Ireland will be themselves. And the box will end top of the log, says Stan. Tokyo by population. Don says Tokyo as well, and 95 says Marius as that prediction for the scoreline. Scottish, they managed to have 120 runs throughout that first half. 42 defenders beaten. That is the most we have seen throughout this Rugby World Cup in one individual half. They've had 10 lineouts successful, and also the one scrum from one. They have been able to walk away with that one. And also 16 offloads coming from this game. 99 tackles made by the Romanians, 42 missed. That means at the moment they're only tackling at a 71% accuracy. I've had to consider it's not the smallest country. It's Sealand. Google. Where's Sealand? Is Sealand a country? We're going to Google. Everyone's got their own country these days. We should start a country. Is Sealand a country? Is a micronation. There you go. It's a micronation, not a country. Or is it? Oh, but the small offshore platform known as Sealand. When did Sealand become a thing? I feel like that's only popped up recently. All the videos are like 2021. Basically just an oil rig. What do you have to do to have a country? There's quite a bit that has to go into it, isn't there? Although if you can have it on an oil rig, I guess it's all right, isn't it? San Marino, says John. Chris Harris, the Black Cats need you, says David there. Also, I agree, Hamish. They'll get to the 100, says Brian. I think the match between Argentina and Wales will be very interesting to watch. And it is Vatican, says Penny Lane. And hang in there, Hamish. You're doing great, mate, says Sai. And the only border crossing into Namibia is via Wardrobe. And funny as Ireland was talking. They are facing the World Cup final. Loads of problems for them. Way to go, Scotland, says Jasper. And Sealand doesn't count, says Jacqueline. Doesn't it? Because I went on and then it was like, yep, nah, it is one. It's the... Oh, okay. It's a self-proclaimed micronation. So we won't count it. Second largest planet. There's a few big ones in there, eh? They are all quite big. Won't be Pluto, that's for sure, eh? The dwarf. What's it called? A dwarf planet. I believe it is now, rather than an actual planet. 5 continents, Hamish. I know my geography. Scotland versus Tonga. Oh, sorry, South Africa versus Tonga. What happens if they're cards? Says Chad, then more than likely if they are for discipline, those players will be suspended going into the quarterfinals and maybe even the semis and the final. Saturn, says cool story, bro. Our most populist country, says Master, the one with the most people. Nailed it. A dwarf planet plus Uranus, says Jad, and also what's the population of Sealand? It depends on how many people are there on the day, doesn't it? And Pluto is a dog, says Eric J. It certainly is, and it's a great dog indeed. Isn't it weird how Pluto walks around on 4 legs, yet Goofy's just standing up like nothing's happening? Because Goofy's a dog too, isn't he? Some people have no idea what we're talking about, but people who know will know, you know what I'm saying? Currently waiting for the second half to get underway, ladies and gentlemen. India, I guess. Yes, new word. You've been Plutoed. You are downgraded. Or downgraded, says Jacqueline. Also Saturn, says John. And also Disney Biology, says Dave. And also I watched One Planet in real life, the Planet of the Apes. No, Goofy is a cow. Is he? Wow. A weird looking... Why is he on 2 legs, though? Like, I would have thought a cow. That ain't a cow, is it? Is he supposed... What kind of dog is... He's Goofy as a tanned, black and tan... Oh. A hound is what Goofy is, apparently. You see all the serious teams speaking at the right time, important in the World Cup. Don't want to peak too early, says Jesper. Goofy is a dog, lol, says Scrumlass. And Malta, says Luke. Second half, just about to start. The players are just having a bit of a chillax session in the changing sheds. Scotland, they've lost their table. A lot of the other changing sheds have got tables in that area, but for some reason Scotland, they must have thrown it out. A Great Dane Hound. And it's Argentina is targeting Wales. And they also, or they always screwed with my head growing up, says Si. I got a spot on my willy. What do? Says Jared. Well, probably get that checked out, I'd say. Although it's a weekend, so it might be hard to get in, you know. And also we have got there only 5 continents, same as 5 Olympic rings. Yeah, it's interesting though, isn't it? Because like Antarctica, I wonder when they're going to join the Olympics. But then they can't really, can they? Because they're not a country, they're a continent. And Jared watched it. And we have got there, no, he is a cow. I saw it on something a while ago, says Usual. But I just Googled it and it told me he was a hound. And also Saturn, says Chloe. Let me have an Irish coffee with Scottish whiskey. And I'm back, brother, says Dino. Welcome back, mate. Hope you are doing very well. We are just waiting for the second half. It seems like a very long halftime break, but maybe that is because we've been talking about Goofy and whatnot. Cal is Clarabella. Says it was Mirandolina. And then watermelon in the sheds, mate. Says, so it doesn't look like it for the Scottish, which I'm sure they'll be very disappointed about. Definitely if they knew the price of it here in New Zealand. Asked Google if Goofy is Goofy a cow. I did, and it came up saying he's a hound type of dog. 5 rings represent the union of the 5 inhabited continents: Africa, the Americas, Asia, Europe, and Oceania. 7 continents. Says Gary. Also, look who they played. France will beat them easily. And when is the second half going to start? Hopefully soon. But I think it's like 3 or so minutes away from the second half getting back underway in this contest. I think Darcy Graham, he's got his 3 tries. I wouldn't be surprised if they take him off now, to be fair. They got off the bench. In fact, we will show you guys as well. One minute. We go like this and like that. There we go. These are the benches. I honestly think you bring Hugh Jones on soon. And then the reason I say that is if Darcy Graham plays some of the second half and ends up getting injured, that would not be ideal. You're much better off having him fresh so that he can play in that next game up against the Irish. If that is what they want to do, of course, there is a chance that they may look for a different type of backline. Still got a lot of classy players. Finn Russell will be coming back into the side. He'll be starting at 10 rather than Ben Healy. I think Kinghorn, they might find him at number 15 for that match coming up soon. All right, we go like this. 7 continents and Dwayne Vermeulen. Says Johan van der Merwe. Scotland doing good, but they play in amateurs. I hope they don't expect that kind of freedom against Irish. And they'll get there. As the kit says Celtic. And also they reckon Portugal are ranked number 1 for the nicest people. Says Rick Flair. And also Tongan friend played for Romania in 2011. Goofy is a guy I work with, says Grant. And poor Hamish, only 1 minute left with our horrible talk, says Jacqueline. Is Hamilton still clap capital? Couldn't tell you, I haven't been Hamilton before. Goofy isn't a cow, but David Bowie once said Mickey Mouse has grown up a cow. This Kerno Wick. Yeah, I'm still confused at why Pluto doesn't get like pants or anything like that. He's just chilling as a dog, whereas Goofy, he like learnt the trick of standing on the back legs, didn't he? Did you know if you have hiccups, the fastest way to get rid of them is to stare into someone's eyes, says George. I've always found that the quickest way to get rid of hiccups is run into a wall really fast. It gives you a bit of a shock and then they go away. Don't actually do that. Disclaimer, we're not responsible for any hiccup wall injuries that do come about. Australia is about the size of the US, or the same size as the US, says Ric Flair. Now the two sides have made their way back out onto the field, ready to go for the second 40 minutes now. Romania, they have made their way back out onto the field, slightly lighter than the Scottish. That is because of those 2 yellow cards that are still in play. USA is bigger than Australia. Hello, Hamish, says George. And bystander, yes, the Bok. And mate, stats mean nothing in a World Cup, especially when you go into sudden death games. Go on YouTube, search as Goofy, a cow, or a dog, says Usual. Okay, another one will stay as a yellow card. You heard it here first, says Johan. Which is lovely, but I'm not moving to New Zealand, says Penny Lane. And White Horse drinking in moderation. Can you hiccup can you hiccup when unconscious? Well, that's the thing. I never know. At that stage when I've run into the wall, I forget about a lot of things. You know, like having to go, geez, my head's sore, but I don't have the hiccups. Hiccups is in a coma, says Savage Police. Our second half, Scotland. They will be kicking off from left to right. There's a big chance now Scotland to get towards that 100, which I have said that they will do. Only because I saw how they played in that first half, though. And Hamish, with that name, should be a Scotland superstar. Or sorry, a Scotland supporter, says Miranda Lena. And no, Texas is not. It used to be Ali, says Eric. But straight away, Romania going for the first attack and play of the second half. And I believe they're actually back to 14 men on the field for Romania rather than the 15. So Simeon Skoo, the one player who is missing. We have got love in the chat, so much research material. And playing the move, says Tino. I'll take him back by Scotland. Darcy Graham, cut out pass, finds Matt Fagerson, who's dropped the ball cold as he was running towards that Romanian defensive line. Flat run coming in from Motic. Back to the right. Slinging pass from Lama. I think for Romania, it's just about getting a little bit more of the ball here, isn't it? Funny how people can debate over anything. Good night, folks, says Ali. We will see you later on. We have got there many cattle stations in Australia, bigger than a lot of countries, says Peter Wild. Taken back now by the young fly half for the Romanians. It's going to be a high tackle, though, from the Scottish. That was against Luke Crosby. They will now go for another penalty. 5 continents, says Akaris. Why Americans choose 85 years grandpa for their president, says Master Okoya. And stay on the rope. It's a good thing. And Romania should be banned from World Cups. They are horrific, says Theodore. I don't know about banned. It's just, through the qualification process, yes, they weren't initially going to be at the World Cup, but they made it in the end due to the disqualification of the Spanish. Perhaps they won't be at that next one. They are just showing the replay once more. Scotland's national animal is the unicorn. The unicorn has been linked to Scotland for centuries and is a symbol of purity, innocence, masculinity, and power in Celtic mythology, says Stefan. But there you go. I look at the unicorn and go, why does that horse have a horn on its head? Romania now 30 metres out from their try line, rolling maul. I'm very sleep deprived, ladies and gents, so I do apologise for the random stuff that I am spewing out today. Still rolling quite nicely for the Romanians. Attacking run. Coming in from, I think that was, who was that? Vunavai? I believe. Oh no, it's Tangi Mana who had that one. Yeah, Scots are Celts. You can fit and squeeze the whole North continent into the Pacific Islands or Pacific Oceans. There's an improvement, Stan, says Eric J. And now I'm starting to regret my decision of saying that Scotland will get to the 100 because the second half, Romania have come out and looked like the more dangerous side, almost getting that turnover in the breakdown. Now Romania keep it on their side once more. Rapanu, drop ball there, and it will be the scrum feed now. We are not helping you much, says Stefan. And John alone with the greatest try, or his great score, many tries against Scotland, says Tino. I'm only listening to this because I'm not tired yet. In South Africa, we call this killing chicken chicks, says Stan. Yeah, they're handling at the moment. That was a good chance for them. I think that was Tanamana, or Tangimana, that put that one down as well. Simeon Skoo, still 4 minutes remaining of his yellow card. I will mention anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It is hugely appreciated you all being here. We got 2 games on tomorrow that we are covering on the channel. The first of which going to be the game between Australia and Portugal. Second game, Springboks taken on the Tongans. Scotland look like they're going for something unique here. Scrum now looks stable. Big push from the Romanians though, and the penalty goes their way. That is a massive win for them in the second half. Big push, gets the pat on the back. Wayne Barnes from one of the props. Biggest mountain in the world. Yeah, there's a few big ones in there. There used to be a big hill at my school. I used to think that was huge. Let's get more useless information. That kick's not finding touch from the Romanians. That is going to stay in the field of play. Darcy Graham slings it across to Ollie Smith. Now off to Chris Harris in the midfield. Big shot. Coming in low from Dragos Sir. Now, passing there, Healy gets it off. Who's that? Oh, it's old bloody Sam Skinner. I was trying to recognise the face and I couldn't tell who it was. Ben Healy going for the cross kick. Space is wide open on the outside. Nicely taken by Redpath. Offloads it up to Chris Harris. And he'll score the first try in the second half. How's Ben Healy going? He hasn't been too bad in this game. I think it's been a tricky game to be able to play in, mainly because of how quickly everything can go wrong in terms of you can be attacking, thinking everything's going smoothly, then the intercept, then you get it back, and then it's all unstructured. But I don't think Healy's been too bad throughout this game. Are we impressed by Scotland in this game, says Fleshin? I mean, some of their tries have been impressive, but then we've got to remember they are up against a side that they are supposed to win by a large margin. Now that the bonus point has been secured, it seems like it's just that case of waiting for the final whistle. The biggest mountain in the world, Ararat, Noah's Ark land there, says it was Spider-Mech and also Scotland nearly beat All Blacks, but it never happens. Why? Says Mr. Lerm, looked offside, says audio. He was very flat, wasn't he? The man out on the wing, that should not be a try. Number 12 was in front of the kicker, says Theodore. Though, interestingly enough, they haven't actually checked it, which makes me intrigued. And has gone over nicely from Ben Healy. Now making the score 49 points to 0. So I should mention that Ben Healy off the kicking tee, he is sitting 7 from 7 at this stage of the contest. I would like Romania to get a point, says Kevin. And also Goofy as a dog. I remember the cartoon, says Ric Flair. Great bit of work from Chris Harris to be in the support run. Go on YouTube and put in a Barstool Chirigo is Goofy a cow. So there's one source that says he's a cow and the rest say that he's a dog. He's a weird looking cow if he was a cow though. Like, he don't look like a cow because he's a dog, but you know. And Healy. Cross to Harris again, Ollie Smith. Oh, he's run straight into Matt Ferguson's crotch. At least buy him dinner first. Now it's going to be a penalty in favour of Scotland. Diving on the ball. Unfortunately, when it pops out the back, you are not allowed to leave your feet. If you go through, pick it up, you are allowed to run. But if it's still inside of the breakdown, you aren't allowed to jump down. What's the next game for you after the World Cup? Can we still watch you, says George. So we are going to be doing the URC on the channel. So that's pretty much as the World Cup comes to a close. I think the last 2 weeks of the World Cup, we have got the URC. Then also alongside that, we cover the 7 circuit on the YouTube channel. Then it will be almost towards Super Rugby and the Six Nations. We have got there, I really thought you were intelligent, but hey, every family has one. Says Grant, you got to have the one though, don't you? Or else then everyone feels bad about themselves. So I'll take the blame. You know, I'll be the one that gets the stick, but I feel like I have the most fun while doing it. Are you going to do, and you're going to do Lucifer, says Jacqueline. Now, nice pass off from Ali Price, short to Kyle Stain. Ali Price to the right. Sam Skinner, good low tackle made on him by one of the 3 men who have had a yellow card. But I should mention all 3 yellows have stayed as yellows throughout this game. So that is one bonus for Romania. Offload there from, it was Crosby. Redpath just not quite able to build the momentum to go over that try line. We have got a donation from Andre Vermeulen. Thank you very much, mate. Jamie Butty falls on his back. Has he thrown the ball at the line again? They will have to check this to see whether or not he grounded it. Not talking to you, Hamish. The old chub says Grant. I like how I just claimed it though. I was like, yeah, no, I'm the wrong one of the family. You know, I'm the one who does live streams throughout the night. Whatever you do, don't leave your feet behind, says Peter Lowe. They're checking to see whether or not Jamie Butty was still hanging onto the ball when he fell over the try line, or whether this is going to be considered Has no try. Oh, he's dropped it. He couldn't quite, he had the arm. How did he have it? And we got some, no, I don't really have anything that's a good shape. The bottle. Pretty much he was holding it under there like that, and then as he went down, hand was backwards. Couldn't quite get the dexterity of the wrist in the right way. And sad watching this little pygmy ghetto hiding, says Spider Mech. It may get worse for them as well. Goofy's girlfriend Clarabelle is a cow, I think, says Rishin. I feel like everyone's going to have questions about the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse now when they go home after their work day. Rolling Maul here for Scotland at the back with Ewan Ashman. He's been frustrated throughout this game because he's been very close to getting the try about 3 or 4 times and every time has lost that opportunity. Now, wide cut-out pass from Healy to Smith. Darcy Graham wants his 4th. He is taken down 5 from the line. I'll say it again, though. I feel like you've got to make sure you take him off relatively soon because if they get in or if he ends up with an injury, that is going to be a massive hit to Scotland. How many subscribers do you have now? Says, Kevin, that's a penalty to Romania. Good stuff. Just out from their goal line. I think some people are for IQ test. No, rugby, come on, rugby is a serious game now, says Chloe. Scotland only beat an Ireland 4 times. 2001, 2010, 2013, 2021. What are the odds of winning their next one? Well, they're looking relatively good because 3 out of those 4 results that you listed happened in an odd year. 2023 is an odd year. Entertaining and informative commentary, educational content and random facts. What more could you want on a Sunday morning? Says Vesperlind in there as well. Yeah, we are going to do 2 live streams tomorrow as well, ladies and gentlemen. I should mention it is going to be Scotland. That's the lie they're playing now. Australia versus Portugal. And then also South Africa versus Tonga will be the other game that has taken place. Thrown in by Romania, claimed nicely 40 metres out from their own line. Now the rolling maul. In fact, they're going to just pick and go. Off the back. Rupanu. And across again. And what was Chocolate Log discontinued? I want a chocolate log. Or why was chocolate log? It's probably the name. It kind of sounds like it would be something else, doesn't it? What did scientists find on Pluto? Not a lot, because it was too small. Have they been? No, where have they been lately? A few people go to the moon every week now, don't they? Supposedly. Conspiracy. Ali Price. Oh, pinning the ears back, the young halfback, even though he's slightly older than some of the others. Now, Chris Harris, skip pass, quick hands from Ewan Ashman. Darcy Graham's in touch. And it is now going to be a line out by the looks of it. It should be for Romania, but they are saying maybe there's a chance to hit a Romanian player. Are they? Yeah, no, it didn't hit no one. Darcy Graham was hanging on to that ball. It is a roll log. And also, never been to Pluto, says Jacqueline. Neither. That looked forward, actually, for Romania in that pass. Now Boulder making his way onto the field for Kanache. We've seen a little bit of. He looks like someone. Who does Kanache look like, ladies and gentlemen, in terms of the rugby world? I feel like he's got that little bit of an Antoine Dupont looking face. Although not currently Antoine Dupont's face, as he has got it all strapped up so that it stays still. Shapes his Benny Lane. And also New Zealand versus Ireland in the final, who wins? Although it will be a quarter-final that those two sides find themselves going head-to-head in. By the looks of it, 50 missed tackles for Romania throughout this game, whereas Scotland, I believe they have still only missed the 6 tackles throughout this contest. Nicely taken at the front. A nice sniping run from Rapanu. He's found a lot of space, kicking it in behind, maybe going a little bit too early. Given Scotland, that was a knock-on from Ollie Smith, I thought, but he is going to run it straight back up the middle of the field, looking to link up. He's going to go all by himself. Sells the dummy. He was never passing that. You can see that in his eyes. He gets up, tries to go again. He scored the try, Ollie Smith. Got up, went by himself again. It's just whether or not he knocked that ball on inside of his own half. That's what I was looking at. I think the commentators just said he's very lucky he scored that, because if he didn't, there would have been some angry Scots all lining him up. Looks like he could be Stuart Hogg's son, Ollie Smith. Got that same look to him. Romania, please stick with wrestling. Saying your style. Says Andre. Yeah, great run from Rapanu. He panicked a little bit. Decided to go with the kick much earlier. For me, from Ollie Smith, I think he knocked that on the ground, to be honest. But I don't think they're going to check it. Never been part of such a diverse chat while listening to a good game of rugby. Or while listening to good rugby commentary. Brilliant. Says Gary. And Scotland is now strong for Ireland. Says Cohen. Yeah, gets back up to his feet. Reaches out. Is able to go with that second movement. Romania. Coach is looking frustrated now as the 50 points comes up. I found Neptune once in a telescope. Never found it again. Says, cool story, bro. And Scotland finding this a piece of cake. That is a great kick as well from Healy. So he is someone, could be consistent off that kicking tee if needed. Well done, true Gary. Says Chloe. Now 56 points to 0. Still scoring at just over a point a minute. Why did Mickey Mouse go to outer space? To find Pluto. Says Reshan. Now, on a regular live stream, that joke wouldn't make sense. But because we have talked about Pluto and whatnot, it does make sense. So, fair play. Pavlova named after a Russian ballerina. Says Penny Lane. Nicely taken. Back from Luke Crosby inside of his 22, but now he's driven out of it. Although Romania trying to push him back in. Big replacement Lucia prop. Scotland kick this from inside of their own territory, or do they run it out? Looks like they're going to run it out. Matt Fagerson. He's got George Horn with him on the inside. He was never passing that either. Everyone's getting too excited about their running meter stats rather than setting up the team tries. Now Healy goes across to the right. Redpath shut down early. Finds the offload away to Hamish Watson. You can tell from the way that Scotland are playing, they're just having fun. You know, like they just all want to get their hands on the ball as much as they can, show off that fancy footwork. Oh, that's going to be a drop ball though from Redpath. Went backwards. Another offload to George Horn. Off to Crosby. Who's that? Is that a Romanian or a Scottish man who's down? I think it's a Romanian. Inside ball now. Thought about the flick. Ollie Smith has dropped that one. Maybe that's why he doesn't pass. Now scrum feed for the Romanians on their own 22. Second most wicket taker of all time, says George. I'd like to think it's me, but I bowl double bounces. Actually, true story. We've got footage of me in a match banging it into my side of the wicket. Great run from Matt Fagerson. Saw Chris Harris. Never thought about the pass on the inside. Don't let the New Zealanders hear this. They claim to have invented. Pavlova says Stefan, or was a New Zealander who named it after a Russian ballerina. Which in a way, like when you think about it, like, was he like a stalker? That he was like, this is what I'm going to make you a, what would you call it? Not even a cake. I'm going to make you a dish made of eggs where I meringue them because I like you. You know? I was in Kia and Jimmy Savile got barred from visiting, says John. Rolf. Yes, Master, you definitely know your cricket, says George. World Cups have a lot of luck involved. Often the best teams don't win the US. Are the best at basketball and baseball, but aren't the world champions at either a great example, says Ric Flair. And so River has represented the country very well in cricket and rugby and soccer. Just have to bite your nails and hope for the best, whereas in rugby you just chill. So I thought I was, but I'm not sure now. Now, once again, scrum feed for Rapanu. Second half so far, Romania only conceding the 2 tries throughout the first 16 minutes. Also, weakest boxer, Derek Chisora. And weakest chin, Ricky Hattons, after Manny Pacquiao nailed it. I kicked him behind from Romania. Bit of space here, but it's another knock on. Now Scotland got themselves the ball back inside of their half. Does South Africa play soccer? Says Albert, they certainly do. They also hosted the FIFA World Cup in 2010. And that is the World Cup where New Zealand were the only side to not be defeated throughout that competition. They didn't make it out of the group stage, but they didn't get defeated. It's the main thing. Yeah, mustache is rocking that screen, thanks, says Ruth. Romania need to be scrapped. They're not a rugby country, says Aaron. But the thing is, how can they improve if they play badly and everyone says write them off rather than saying, right, what can we do to get them more game time? What can we do to get them opposition around their same level? Maybe they need funding. How do we improve that for them? Get their player pool up so that they can then look to improve. Darcy Graham, the quick stepping, number 14, gets it off to Healy, breaks through the tackle attempt at the back, and he gets himself a much-deserved try after setting up so many others. It was a Romanian try against Ireland a fluke. Why are they struggling to score points, says Reshin. It's just unfortunate, really, for Romania that they're just being outplayed, aren't they? What does South Africa have to do to qualify, says Joshua? So they will have to sit and wait after winning their game up against Tonga. Of course, they want that bonus point to help really secure it. South African Hamish, I'm joking. South Africa soccer sucks, says Albert. And also, at the end of the day, Romania qualified the World Cup, so big ups to them, says VG Man. Exactly right. Like, this opportunity for these young players, even though the score lines are pretty rough on them, this is still a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. This may be the only time we see these Romanian guys playing in a World Cup. The kick has gone over, and now will be 63 points to nil for the Scottish. Looks like Grant Gilchrist making his way off the park now. Good question, Master. I'm not sure, says George. I think I missed Master's message. That's Ringos versus All Blacks in the final. I hope 6 World Cup champions, says Mr. Lerm. And also, yes, Japan won the Baseball Classic, which is the biggest tournament in baseball. You can see the disappointment, though, on the Romanian players' faces. There's just so many gaps that are opening up. It's like Matthews now getting his opportunity for Scotland. That is Johnny Matthews, young man with a bright future. Taken to the back now by would have been Cummins. Back to the right, short, flat pass. Watson's hit hard. They still look like they're tackling too high here, Romania, which makes me concerned that they might end up with another yellow card some stage in the near future. Now Luke Crosby goes up to Hamish. Watson bumps off 2 tackles, gets the ball on the outside to WP now, who drives it up to the 50-metre line, although now turnover in the breakdown. Knock-on advantage in favour of the Romanians. Road to the final for New Zealand is very complicated. Ireland is in the middle. That is very true. Advantage over from the knock-on, says Wayne Barnes. Pluto super advanced level for an amateur to find. It's been days confirming its movement. Says cool story, bro. And 9 tries now. Looks like they're beating the 12 tries. I think 100 looks good, lads. Or looks good now, says Brian. They have been able to take that ball back now. Darcy Graham trying to find the gap. He's managed to sling that ball back across to Blair Kinghorn. Offloads on the outside to Harris. Inside ball dropped by George on, and he's smashed. And the tackle afterwards as well. And also 96-point margin, says John. If consuming whiskey was a sport, who's the hardest comedian ever? Says Ruth, depends which one took the Viagra before his set. But not me. I'm not a comedian. 145 Wallaby, says Blues Nate. And Boris Johnson was a great rugby player, says John. He ran over that child, didn't he, in that clip? He was trying to step and then he just bulldozed over that little kid. It's like another change. It's going to be Rapanu making his way off. And also Barasu making his way out there. And no point in rating Scott's strength against this poor opposition, or rating Scott's strength against this poor opposition, says Michael. And that's what makes it so tricky, because it's extremely hard to work out how these sides match up. It's the same with New Zealand up against Italy. People thought that would be a relatively even game at times, but Italy didn't really show up. So how do New Zealand now match up in their quarterfinals? They've got Uruguay next week, so that won't tell them too much either. How cool would it be? They played in their kilts, says Joe. I mean, it would be very free-flowing in the rucks, wouldn't it? Although, with all the cameras around, that would be quite concerning as well. I feel like when you're looking at try replays, you'll be looking at 2 sets of balls. 18 minutes remaining. Still another 37 points to go. So they would actually need 6 more tries, Scotland, to bring up that 100. And that seems like a little bit too much for them to be able to do. Definitely because Romania currently in possession, but onto the ball. Chris Harris almost got the turnover, but has given away the penalty advantage in the process. It's actually for a high tackle rather than leaving his feet in the breakdown. Darcy Graham just asking the question, was it me? I would expect Darcy Graham to go off the field soon, though. They've got Hugh Jones available. Oh, no, it's Chris Harris with the high shot. Hamish and says, cool story, bro. What? I think Wayne Barnes, if I heard him correctly, he said, don't squeeze on their ball, please. I don't know who he was telling off for squeezing the ball, but someone was in trouble. We have got there scoring at a point a minute, says Eric J. A rolling ball for the Romanians. Huge amount of experience at the back with the replacement halfback, Florian Badasu. Now 10 metres out from the line. This is their chance. If there was ever a time to score in this half, it would be right now while they are on attack. 10 metres out from the line. Even if they can put together 10 phases, that would be a brilliant start for the Romanians. Being told no, he's still on the ball. Not now, is the comment there from Wayne Barnes, although they have lost about 3 metres in the process of the contesting and the breakdown. Nice piercing run from Onotu, man who has started out on the wing for Romania throughout some of the games in this Rugby World Cup. Every breakdown at the moment, Scotland trying their absolute best to be able to get that turnover. Calling for more numbers. Out to that right-hand side. Flat run. 2 metres out from the line for the replacement, Hartig. Don't go in this side. Wayne Barnes warns Scotland once more. So they are probably on the verge of giving away a penalty at some stage in the very near future. If they do get it wrong, trying to use his own player as a ramp there. That doesn't normally work. And it's going to be held up. Nope, they're going back for the original offside. We have got there. I feel bad for Scotland because we already know they got no chance winning this comp. There's Mr. Lerm. And also we have got there, Romania was a good rugby team in the 70s and the 80s, says Gus. But now, 15 minutes remaining. Romania will kick for the corner with Boulder. Does put it into touch. The point and face mask chat. Seem to recall Hikari playing in a face mask at some point. Says Peter Wild. I mean, we've seen the goggles come into play in the 7 side of things with, I think is it William Bucker who does wear it? And Hamish stayed up all night. Says Matthias, we certainly did. Last night, when we got a little bit of sleep, we managed 3 hours. The night before that, we managed 2. And then the night before that, we managed about 4 or 5. So we're pretty sleep deprived at the moment, which is why I've slightly lost my filter, but we should get a little bit more sleep tonight, hopefully. A bit of luck. Now Romania, penalty advantage now in their favour again for Scotland, closing that gap a little bit too early. 65 minutes in, and this one is completely rotating. It's like it's a merry-go-round at the moment for the Scottish and the Romanians. Penalty now stands for Romania again. Hope you get lots of restorative rest, Hamish. Says Grumless. Next try wins the game, cited. Although we're not quite at last try wins as of yet. Still 15 minutes remaining. Says Says, Irish, why do you speak as we? I don't really know why I say that. I think it's because at the end of the day, like the Kiwi Lads channel, even though the other guys aren't staying up late as well, like it is still a group channel. So, yeah, I say we, so I feel less lonely. No, that's not true. But, yeah. I don't know why I say we. A best spot player was Danny Herber, says Darren. Now, ball's available, says Wayne Barnes. I think it's popped out. Rapanu has it. No, in fact, sorry, not Rapanu, the replacement. Barasu. Atamani. Going to get this one out to the right-hand side again. Romania is sensing a try just around the corner, and this is probably good for Scotland to be able to take on that defensive line. Try and make sure that it is stable. Are they using Hamish for clout? Says RJJ. They aren't. They haven't been on the channel in like 4 months. And also, without them, the channel wouldn't exist as well. So, you know, it's one of those ones that can't really look at it that way. I'm not sure the Irish need to pull out their A team against Scotland. Says Fleshin, and what are the chances the Box don't play, make it through pool play? It's a very slim percentage, but there is still a 1% chance, I guess, somewhere around there. And played for Eastern Province. Says Darren Todd. And Hamish, I don't know how you managed to stay awake and stay focused, says Penny Lane. Yeah, neither do I, to be honest. I feel like at times throughout this live stream, my brain's gone off on a tangent, just, you know, enjoying the atmosphere. But overall, we've kept relatively locked in. All right, I wonder if my Romanian daughter-in-law still wears the Scotland rugby shirt I bought her. Says Miranda Lena. Benny Hamish is a Terminator, and we listen rugby and debate over everything. Says Ellie, and well, such an achievement, scoring 100 against Mongolia. Says John, nicely taken by Scotland there at a line-out time, so take him back. A nice rolling maul for Johnny Matthews to sit at the back of it. His debut for Scotland. George Horn now putting the distance on that one. Down towards 40 metres out from Romania's line. It will be Nicholas Onutu. Oh, ugly fall for him. Landed pretty much on his face. Best way of describing it. But Darcy Graham making another good tackle there. Selling a dummy from Marius. Number 19. The ill discipline of Scotland starting to sneak in just a little bit. I think he will lose sleep over Ireland, Kiwi lad. I mean, we're covering their game next week. Please get some sleep after this game, says Casey. We've got a little bit to do before we can sleep, but we will be asleep by, I'd say, early afternoon, New Zealand time. So I should still manage to get somewhere around there 8 hours, hopefully tonight. Well, you reckon the score will be between Ireland and Scotland, says Roland? Well, it's a very hard one to tell, isn't it? Because Ireland's last game up against the Box, getting themselves that win 13 points to 8. Scotland's game up against Romania. They've had some good moments, but probably not going to be the side that they put out up against the Irish. So I still feel like Ireland get the advantage. He will not stop until the game is dead, says RJJ. And also, I love watching Scotland play, says Mr. Lerman. Now Romania, still on attack. In fact, in the last 10 minutes or so, you'd have to argue that territory would be about 80% in favour of the Romanians. Murtilla, again with the run. Badashu, oh, it's ripped away from him. Now George Horn, across to Chris Harris. If you're saying we, do you have a small crew up with you, says Stefan? No, it's just me, to be fair. Any editing, any live streaming or anything that you see on the channel is, yeah, I did say we again, didn't I? I think I say we because I know this sounds strange to say, but I don't like taking credit for for what we do, if that makes sense. Like, I always say we because then it doesn't feel like I'm like, look at me, look what I've done. I feel like we makes it, you know, like I didn't do it all. That makes sense. And Scotland, says Grant. And please stop yawning, Amish. It's contagious, says Bruce. I'll try my absolute best not to yawn. Throughout the rest, Scotland score, says Joshua. Seeing one line-out loss from the Romanians with still 10 minutes remaining on the clock. It's counter stolen from the Scottish. Horn very close to the touchline, slings it back inwards to Darcy Graham. Some good backline movement here. Kinghorn sees the gap. It opens up. He's got George Horn with him, who had the inside pass. And on debut, the big man at number 16, Johnny Matthews, scores the try. He is absolutely thrilled about it as well. And Ireland will play their strongest side all the time now. Experiment time is over. A humble guy, says Penny. And also, is there any Super Rugby players in the two teams playing? Not really, I don't think. No, I don't think so. For these two teams, those kiddos must be feeling sad. They threw them out of the anthem ceremony, says John. And also, Biltong Scotland says Marius in Transylvania is a made-up country. Maybe not, though. Isn't it like a region of another country, though? Or like a place in another country? Cool story, bro, rather than a country. And also, Chris Harris should stick to cricket, says Sai. What's your favourite anthem, says Joshua. There's a few pretty decent ones around in the world of rugby. Anything that the crowds sing along to, though, I feel like is pretty awesome. And also, Hamish, as the Marathon Man of Commentary, Kiwi Lads rocks. As this is a World Cup or jokes. After the tournament goes one side. Doesn't Dracula come from Romania? Yeah, I believe so. 8 minutes remaining. The kick is over as well. So now 70 points to 0 in favour of Scotland. Well taken. About 30 metres out from the line there. It was Scott Cummins. And Romania playing their B team, says Martin Murray. We never saw this in a World Cup. What, says Jody. Now big run. Oh, that's high. Tackled round the bootlaces. I think it's not going to be an advantage, though. He pretty much got him on the chin. And he'll be fine. Another pass off. This time it's Rory Darge. Did start in the last game for Scotland, coming off the bench for this match. Another try being scored here for Scotland. They are trying to get to that 100. I'll give them credit for that. I bet that water is soothing, says Chloe. It is very nice, yes. Well done, Ben Healy, my fellow Tipperary man. Or Tipperary. Man, you must know a lot from us. But can you trust the info we give you, says Cool Story Bro? Probably not. I know someone earlier on said that Goofy was a cow, and that threw me off. We have got there as a team being subjected to beatings week after week in the interest of player safety, says RJJ. I don't think anyone's really asked that question at this point, have they? It seems to be actually more the injuries, in most cases, are coming for the big teams that are playing the lower ranked sides. Now it's going to be kicked off long. Sorry, I'm late, just cannot face another blowout. They are depressing. Says Yvonne, and Australia way better, says Tino, and they will be playing tomorrow up against Portugal. We will be covering that game on the channel as well. Ben Healy, he's gone through again. Romania have forgotten what a tackle is. That's a knock on, though, from Matt Fagerson. Looks like, Healy took a shot to the ribs. He didn't like that one. Doesn't look like he is enjoying his time that much. Ball on his face. Says Jody. As we have got there, John Kerr, stick a mirror up behind you. I've only got the green screen behind me, though, so it wouldn't quite work because it can't really hang anything off it. There's a World Cup of jokes. Half of the tournament goes one sides. And Goofy is a cartoon character. Well done, Tony. He is indeed. We have got there Romania. I know where'd that go. Romania needs Eddie Jones, says Mr. Loom. Well, he might have a new job opportunity soon. And also tomorrow I'm going to wake up early in the morning with a box of Mahiwu and make preparing to watch the box whipping Tonga. Already feel sad for them, says Vusumusi. 27 offloads from the Scottish. I think that overall for this game they've had the most tackles broken, they've had the most offloads, they've had the most running meters. Scotland have pretty much topped in terms of what any side has been able to do. The only thing that they haven't been able to do is score more points than the most in this World Cup, because France got themselves 96, New Zealand got themselves the same. Scotland piling up the points, says George, but still 6 minutes remaining. I would like to see Romania get some sort of points in this game. That's a nice, their scrum's been looking good. throughout the second half. Tackle made on Statella. Oh, Romanian halfback now frustrated with his forwards not quite doing the job. Good morning, Hamish. Says John Warm, welcome in. Are you going to film any of the Cricket World Cup? I'm not sure whether or not we will be doing any World Cup while the Rugby World Cup is on, but maybe afterwards. I tuned out for 20 minutes and we're still talking about Goofies as usual, although not really. It was only just recently when someone said about false information and I brought up the fact that he was a cow, and that was false. Just a goal, enough to not go home with 0 points, says Mirodolina. I looked at the last FIFA World Cup results, and the first 10 I looked and I had 7-0, 6-1, 4-1. Just in the first 10, it's like 100-0 in rugby. Every World Cup gets blowouts, says Ric Flair. Australia is practically eliminated, right? Pretty much, yep. So the only way that they can get through is if Fiji lose to Portugal badly. That's pretty much the one way that they can sneak through in this Rugby World Cup. Scotland, 40 metres out. We is enjoying this, says Daryl. Front row's gone. Just listen, says Wayne Barnes. Notice no. And also we have got there in the chat as well. Scotland flags from Marius. Sorry, I said I wasn't going to yawn anymore, didn't I? I would have been a good side bet on different stats. Do hope Romania gets something now. We're safe, says John. I'm not sure if we remember this, but Romania are only here because the Spanish effed up, says Fleshin. That is very true. Spain getting themselves disqualified, so Romania, they did manage to get themselves through to this World Cup. And like I said, this is a massive opportunity for these guys that they possibly wouldn't have had otherwise throughout their rugby careers. Thanks again, Hamish, for the fun and professional broadcast. There's Gary Smith. I've done so much for this campaign, brother, I feel like, says Tino. Now, big shot on Healy. He decided to take on the shot. One of the big men in the midfield. I think that was Simieski. Was that Simieski? No. I think it was Siili Lama. But a counter-ruck there from the Romanians. Now a nice little pop pass up. I feel like in the back of Scotland's mind, they want to try and get themselves more points than what the Irish were able to do. Darcy Graham skips through 3 players in their defence, scores another try, and that is now going to bring up the 80 points for the Scottish. And cheers, guys. Enjoy the rugby tomorrow. Go the Bok by 60 plus. These thumpings shouldn't be happening. It's actually sad. Says John, and Goofy as a dog with buck teeth. Like Lauren. And my clock stops, says Eric J. Well done, Scotland, says Penny Lane there. I'll take them up to 84 now. It's the inside flick from George Horn. Then Darcy Graham just sending Simeon Skoo the wrong way. That is now his 4th as well in this contest, I should mention. It feels like the Rugby League World Cup, says John. Just about morning tea time in New Zealand, mainland West Coast. Says Stefan, and also, yeah, let's go Romania, you can do it. Oh, wait, my mistake. Says Gaves. It's gone over from Healy. He was sitting 100% with his kicking accuracy today. But Darcy Graham, he's got himself the 4 tries. Close score-ish. Says it was there from Stoffel. And it might be worth removing 4 teams from the World Cup, says Yvonne. I won't read that one out. Kurt Owick. And cheers, George. Tomorrow's a big day for us, says Chloe. Kicked off long. Darcy Graham takes it. Just outside of the Scottish 22 with 2 minutes remaining. There is still a chance they can get into the 90s if they do act quickly. Johnny Matthews already scoring himself 1 try in this game. Now Healy back across to the left-hand side. Is Hugh Jones? Yeah, there's Hugh Jones. I was going to say, has he made his way onto the field? But I think they made this subtle switch in the last 5 or so minutes. Now George Horn to Healy. Decides to switch it to the left rather than the right where he was standing. Blair Kinghorn. Floats it back. Horn again. Goes back to Healy. Flicks it out the back. Ferguson cleans up. And the penalty does go the way of Scotland. Come on, Scotland, get in there. And also, we'll get there. Cheers, Chloe. Big time win. Oh, big game. And also, well, my Scotland by 30 bet secured. But pissed at Romania not scoring a really even close So looking like it, says Peter Wild. If Romania is the benchmark, Ireland is in trouble, says Stan. Yeah, see, it's a very tricky game to predict how Scotland's going to go, mainly because this game, we've seen a good Scottish performance, but it hasn't really told us how they'll match up with the Irish. They both scored around that same amount of points up against the Romanians. Hamish, good commentating, my brother. We'll see you tomorrow, and I hope you'll be commentating for us again. Says Vusumuzi, we certainly will be. We are doing both of those games that are taking place tomorrow. Australia versus Portugal, as well as Springboks versus Tonga. Kicked them behind there from the Scottish. Darcy Graham, Simeon Skoo, no space whatsoever to deal with. Trying to throw that one quickly. It's slapped back by the Romanians. That's a high shot. Got him round the head. All right, Romania now with the penalty, 5 seconds remaining on the clock. Now they have to make a decision. Do they just tap it and put the ball into touch, or do they go for one last attack? This is going to be their last moment of the Rugby World Cup as well, I should mention. And it looks like, no, it's not. They've got a game next week up against Tonga. Romania didn't even try. Mind the pun, says John. And also New Zealand win the World Cup, says Cruz. And I love Peppa Pig, says Graham Lass. Come on, Scotland, says Matthew. So yeah, one last chance for the Romanians. Try and find their attacking play for that try. Romania come and join in the NPC, says Mr. Lerm. I see taken just outside of their own 22 now. And about 10 metres so far off of their rolling maul. Breaking off the back it is Barasu. Up to the right-hand side. Quite a few of these backline players we just haven't seen enough of throughout this game. Tekuya, thought we were going to see a lot more of him. Now Romania, they still want to drive forward though, up to the 22, or sorry, in fact, the 40 metres out from their line. Now short side sniping run. Just in from the touchline here. To the halfway line though for Romania. Be getting close to the most phases that they have had throughout this contest. Baldur passes across to Tamani. Anyway, thanks so much, says John, and thanks so much, great commentary, says Penny Lane. And also Scotland Magic, says Mr. Lerm, and Irish cousins are better worry, says Darren Todd. Oh, that's a dodgy clean out from the Romanians, but it's going to be play on just for now. Still in position up to 9 phases. Thing here is Scotland are trying their absolute best to not end up giving away a penalty. Because if they do, then Romania will continue to attack at them. But if Scotland can get that turnover, it's going to be knocked down by George Horn. Saying it is going to be a deliberate knockdown, Romania. Have got themselves another penalty. I'm glad you get some rest, bro. One of these long days to commentary, says Laurie. But yeah, like I said, we've got 2 games tomorrow. Portugal versus Australia, as well as Springboks versus Tonga. The 2 big games. Romania kicking for the corner again. Looks like there's some sort of injury for Matt Fagerson. I think that's just cramp, though. We have got their goofy continents and cricket stat sweet dreams. Says good story, and thanks for the commentary. Glad I found you, says John Kerr. And we will be here for every game of this Rugby World Cup as well, ladies and gentlemen. So if you are new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are only 24 away from 35,900. So if you do want to help us get there, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got their lovely commentary, lad, says Matthew. Thank you very much. And brilliant stuff, Hamish, you're the man, says Philip. In there as well. Now overthrown by Romania, but they slapped that ball back in their favour. We're up to 83 minutes through this contest, and neither of these sides want the game to end. I believe that Scotland will look for one last attack if they can get themselves a turnover at some point in the near future. Another good tackle made. Back across to the right-hand side. Spinning there was Tamani. Oh, that's once again. I think that's going to be a knock-on this time from Carl Steyn rather than the deliberate knockdown. So that is the end of the contest. 84 points to 0 for the Scottish side. Hey, bro, enjoying the World Cup. I'm from South Africa. Says Shabir. And of course, we are going to be covering their game tomorrow. Going to bed after the game tonight to everyone, says Casey. And how far do the Box need to beat Tonga to go through, says Stefan. It's not so much about their points differential, but if they get the bonus point for 4 or more tries, that is the first thing that they can do for the Springboks, and then it all comes down to how Scotland and also Ireland end up matching up. Thanks, H. Go get some sleep, buddy. Says Joe, and also cheers for another great weekend's commentary. A great crack all together. Says Kerno Wick, and we do still have the 2 more games tomorrow that we have got on the channel, ladies and gentlemen. The first one being Australia versus Portugal. That is at 4:45 a.m. New Zealand time. And then South Africa versus Tonga. That will be the game at 8 a.m. New Zealand time, or that is 9 p.m. in South Africa. We will probably have around an hour of build-up for that match, looking through all the stats, looking at what will happen depending on the results of the upcoming fixtures. But thank you all very much for tuning into the stream. It's been greatly appreciated. You all being here, ta mate. Looking forward to listening again tomorrow, says ta. And also we have got there Ben Tamefuna, score in way bigger, says Tino. And also Ireland, RIP Scotland is coming. Have a nice rest, Hamish. Thanks for your work. And cheers for another great weekend's commentary. Say Kernowick, I'll watch you for the next one. And also Scotland can beat Ireland. Says Dimit, 100% bro. Do you have a WhatsApp? Says Sabir or Shabir. Should say, believe it or not, I don't actually have WhatsApp. I've always been confused about it because I know that it's to do with your number and then you can put it in and then it works. But yeah, I think in New Zealand, like not many people use it that I know of. So we're more like Facebook Messenger and Instagram and all those ones. And thanks so much, cheers people. Says Charles and good night, says Joe D. And thank you for your voice, says Tino. And also I hope the Scottish enjoy the win. It's their last win this World Cup, says Rishan. Oh, that's harsh, isn't it? But could be the case, depending on how their game goes next week. But thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And we'll see you all for the next one.